Everyone was delighted for them, and also, like you said, it added to the. Although again, that doesn't last either, but it added to the fact, Wales was for a while maybe South Wales in particular was the place.
Well, it was. I mean, yeah. It had taken over that Manchester scene, really.
Yeah.
In a strange way, different kind of, I guess, because I mean, well, it wasn't just Manchester, was it? I guess it was. The Blur and Oasis thing had happened, and the Pulps and the that kind of era, and so we were. I don't think Kelly is that great. I don't think he really likes to be thought in that sort of category now. But I mean,
in what category is that?
Well, in that Welsh, that mad Welsh explosion, so to speak.
Well, I'll give you my take on it, Sam, because you were part of it. I don't even know you were so caught up in what you were doing, but they called this Cool Cymru thing, didn't they? And
that's right, yeah.
All this tag, and I always felt it was a bit contrived, really, and not really what was going on.
Yeah, there was a lot of that to it. Yeah, I'd agree with that. It was a bit. I think the scene was actually a bit better than they actually thought themselves, to be honest, because they were only but they were only picking out they only picked out certain bands, and there was loads of bands out at the time, and there was a lot of bands should have gone on really as well,
Well, as an example of that, how about Ether? Ether should have been huge.
Ether, exactly. Yeah. Ether were involved in that. Who was the singer with Ether?
Rory Meredith.
Rory, that's right. Yeah. Bloody yeah, what a band they were. What happened there?
What a talent.
Yeah.
He's a senior lecturer in the college now.
All right.
Yeah. So he's doing okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I want. Well, they were great. I'm sure we did some shows with Ether.
Yeah.
Really early on. But there was so many. For names, I'm rubbish, but Ether, I definitely remember.
Yeah,
there was. Could you? What I mean, you were doing the radio. Were you doing the radio stuff?
I could really remember that, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I can't remember either. But a lot of them fell by the wayside. There
was the 60-foot dolls. I mean,
yeah, of course, yeah, Richard Parfitt, yeah.
And I think Richard is he living abroad? He's
in lecturing as well.
Right.
I can't remember which university he's at now. He was a colleague of mine for a while at the University of South Wales, but yeah, he's doing okay. There's a really amazingly talented guy straight away.
And there was also Gorky's, obviously.
Yeah.
Which I thought should have been bigger than what they were.
Bigger, yeah.
But never seemed to break that market,
With the Stereophonics, because I'm interested in your take on this. With the early songs, songs like "Look a Boy in the Photograph" and "Tramp's Vest." And these kind of observational songs about life in everyday Aberdare and,
exactly
area, what did they mean to you at the time? Or did you read into them much then?
Well, it was really funny because obviously everything Kelly wrote about, we knew the story behind every song.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or we knew the guys involved, or the girls involved, and so it was. And then when people, a couple of years down the line, when people are singing them back in big festivals, and you think, how Kelly must have thought. I mean, is obviously a lot taller than what he actually is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird, but it's really it's quite. What's the word? Makes you feel proud, obviously, of what's been written and the places. I mean, Cwmaman obviously figures highly in a lot of those stories.
Yep.
In the Aberdare area, but it was just wow.
One song in particular, which
I don't think anybody was writing that kind of thing at the time, especially from in that sort of genre, if you know what I mean.
I'm trying to remember in the recent interview that I watched with you, you talked about Kelly being inspired by, I'm not sure if it was Tragic Love Company or was another band who wrote those kind of observational kind of.
That was Tragically Hip from
Tragically Hip. Yeah, I like that band too, by the way.
Yeah, they are. Well, they sort of go down. He was dead now. Bless him, he's gone. And his, well, obviously you heard the band. Some of his lyrics were genius, I think.
Yeah.
And will live on forever. But it's the man left an amazing body of work with that band, and I think Kelly sort.
I got Road Apples. Is that the album?
Yeah, that's like they had the first album's Up to Here. That was like the second album, Road Apples. Yeah. Second proper
the
album.
Red cover, if I remember.
It has. That's the album with Little Bones, I think, on it.
Yeah, I love that song. Yeah.
Which when we first started the band, that's what we opened up with that.
Oh, did you?
We opened up with 2 Tragic Hip songs in a circus tent in Aberdeen. That's when the band was me, Stuart, Kelly, and Richard. And so that was that. They were a massive influence, and obviously the tragic bit came into the Tragic Love Company side of it.
I suppose they're probably the band that most people would wonder, which band that came from, really, the Tragic, because it takes a bit of research. You either but of course.
Yeah, and then it makes sense. I mean, later on in the story with Tragically Hip, obviously we became quite friendly with them. Every time we were in Canada, we would sort of went. They had a place called they had a studio which in Kingston, Ontario, which was called the Bathhouse, which they recorded a couple of their albums there, and they invited us over a couple of times, and we went out on the pond opposite. But it wasn't a pond; it was a lake. Let's be honest, because we're in Canada. And we'd go. They'd be like, right, chuck these on ice skates, and we'd be out on hockey sticks and ice skates. And we're boys from the valleys. Going, we don't really do a lot of ice hockey in Aberdeen.
Not big, is it?
But but they were so good to us. They used to come to the shows every time we played in Toronto, and really good guys, really good records. Well, in my opinion, anyway. And and obviously Gord is sadly missed as well. Now he's gone. They've just released a new album actually with with
acoustics, more acoustic stuff.
Yeah, but it's not actually a new album. It's a lot of stuff they didn't release from a certain era set from. I think it may be from the Road Apples era sessions. Okay. Oh, and there's some really good tunes on there, to be honest. So obviously didn't make the record the first time round.
Yeah, I'll have to hunt that down. I think Kelly was particularly a Tragically Hip fan, wasn't he? Am I right?
No, not really. No, it was more me and Stuart really, and
okay.
And Julian Castaldi, who obviously comes into the story later on in the Phonics story. He sort of got us on this band because Stuart and Julian used to have a record shop in Cardiff in the Castle Arcade there.
What was it called?
Don't ask me. It was downstairs in the Castle Arcade somewhere, and it was literally downstairs. I'm going back before they obviously started the band and stuff.
All right.
Yeah, but that's all I remember. It was Castle Arcade, and it was every Saturday.
Yeah.
They had a second-hand record shop, but I think that's where Julian picked up the Tragic Hip first.
Okay.
That record came through there, and
I got it through Red Dragon because in the radio in the library, new stuff would come in, and to be honest with you, a lot of the stuff, if they didn't know it, if it wasn't like mainstream chart stuff, there was a skip parked behind Red Dragon when it was on West Canal Wharf, right?
Right. Yeah.
And they chucked it, and I used to my policy was save songs from the skip. So I'd hunt around, see what was going in the skip, and I'd have a troll through, and one of them was a Tragically Hip, and I love the.
You could make a great show to that now. Save songs from.
Wouldn't it? Yeah. When I kept them. Now, the reason that I said about Kelly though was because Local Boy in the Photograph. I'm guessing without being cute about it at all in any way.
Yeah.
You probably knew who that Local Boy in the Photograph.
Yeah.
Really resonant, and I mean that's a painful. Tragic story, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. And Kelly, obviously, I mean, I hadn't met up with a guy. He was through football because we all sort of played football together, Valleys, local football,
Yeah.
And it was I think Kelly must have been still working in the market that time when that happened, because the train track is obviously really close to Aberdare there. A very sad story. Yeah.
So going back to what you were saying earlier, Simon, about people singing along with the chorus,
Mm-hmm.
In another country, somewhere in the world, everyone's singing along with that.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that felt for you, kind of the first time. Or did you even think
quite sad, actually?
Yeah, yeah.
But on the other hand, like you just said there, because our lives were like going at 200 miles an hour then. I mean, overnight kind of thing. Didn't really have time to stop and think about too much about that, because we were on a mission to try and obviously climb the ladder at that time, and climb the ladder we did. I think we ended up in a lift at the end. At the end of that.
What was the first? Yeah. Was it Thousand Trees the first one?
First single was probably, I think Thousand Trees was. I mean, don't quote me on that now, and I'll probably get Stereophonics fans saying, "How can you forget that?"
I should know. I can't remember.
I think. Actually, no. Actually, it may have been Local Boy. In fact,
could have been, couldn't it? Yeah.
Because Local Boy, I think, ended up being released 3 times before he was actually a hit.
Yeah.
So, I think Thousand Trees opened the album, if I'm right in remembering. Yeah.
Because I remember them playing that at the Colosseum that night and thinking, literally, what an incendiary song. I mean, just grew and grew,
Well, Trees was one of the oldest songs by the time that record was written. I think Kelly had that for a while. A Local Boy came later, and a lot of the other ones. But as a single, I can't really remember, to be honest. I'd have to go back and have a look at that.